What's going on, everybody? It's me, Stock Picks by Tim, and I wanted to give you guys a Matterport update. I haven't talked about this one in a while. We do have a couple things coming up. We have earnings coming up. I've got some levels for you to watch on the chart, and also some recent news articles to go over. We're gonna just kind of take a look at Matterport again. Now, for those of you that are familiar with this channel might know that I did sell this one quite a while ago, and I'm not perfect. In hindsight, I definitely could have sold it sooner, gotten out of these, and heck, gotten out of a lot of my high conviction stocks even, but in the end, hindsight is 2020. It's a lot easier said than done. But I did want to dive back into Matterport, just give you my thoughts on it, look at a couple things coming up. Let's get right into this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I definitely appreciate you guys. Check out the links down below to some free stocks and cryptos. Consider joining my YouTube membership. It's $2 a month. Check out my Discord. It's free. And let's take a look at Mttr stock. Now, first off, just the overall market, we're seeing definitely a mixed day. The small caps are definitely having it rough today. And the overall market, is very iffy today. Just we've got some green in some sectors, definitely a lot of red in other sectors, and somewhat typical of a Friday. People are selling just in case of any bad news over the weekend, and a red Friday really isn't all that surprising. Now, looking at Matterport stock specifically, you'll notice that we broke this little short-term uptrend that we've been on since the beginning of the year, and this is one stock that actually did break its May 11 low and fell considerably more since then. There are definitely some stocks that have actually maintained their May 11 low. Bingo, for instance. I believe ChargePoint barely dipped under the May 11 low, but quickly recovered. Indy's another one. But Matterport has broken its May 11 low, and its most recent low was here at the end of last year. So that is one thing to be aware of. If we do get earnings here coming out, get some bad news on the call, we can definitely see those lows again. We were only a month away from them. But keep an eye on this trend. It's very likely we continue to break it. And we do have a longer term trend for you to watch. This is this descending resistance that we've been in. And this is since about January of 2022. So just about a year now that this has been just on this long downtrend. And we almost approached a breakout of this resistance, kind of somewhat. But one thing you're going to want to watch out for, if earnings surprises to the upside, if we get some really good news, we get a surprise on EPS, or maybe we get a positive surprise on revenue, or some really good information in the call that Wall Street likes, we can definitely come up and try to break out of this descending resistance. And this to me could be a good entry point on a swing trade. Now, as we come up to earnings, it's very possible that if we break $4, the break of $4, which actually is a resistance, we hardly broke out of $4 last time here, but a solid breakout of $4 and also a break out of this resistance could be two things that could greatly benefit Matterport, at least on a chart standpoint. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention for earnings, at least in terms of revenue, is they are expecting a record-breaking quarter, roughly a $40 million quarter for revenue. Still not profitable, but I did want to go over their balance sheet and show you that, they're relatively safe when you actually look at it. Now, we will obviously get some more updated numbers once the next earnings comes out, but this is based on last earnings and just their numbers there. But according to Yahoo Finance here, their total cash balance is almost $500 million, $487.45 million, and their debt is only $3 million. That's a very solid balance sheet in my eyes. And compared to a lot of small caps that Wall Street sees a lot of risk in, this one seems relatively safer. Of course they're not making a profit, but they do have quite a cash burn run rate here. And market cap wise, Matterport is trading right under $1 billion in market cap, right at about a $951 million market cap. And I think some of the uncertainty here is just how much it pumped up during 2020 and 2021. Does it still deserve a market cap near $1 billion? Considering they're only pulling in roughly $30 million in revenue a quarter and they're not profitable. Well, honestly, that all goes down to risk. What is Wall Street willing to risk? Are we in a risk on market? Are we in a risk off market? Obviously, this whole 2022, we have been in a risk off market. And people aren't willing to speculate, the longer term prospects of this company, the fact that they can potentially get to profitable in one day and continue to increase that revenue as they have been. But I do personally think, a market cap where they're at compared to where they were at, right around, I believe, almost $20 billion in market cap. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's where they were around their peak. This stock has been just drastically deflated in market cap, obviously deflated in price, but it is still not without its risk. But I do think as the macro environment improves, I do think as, the market as a whole is more willing to take risk, we will see a huge increase on Matterport. But, the real question here that no one has an answer to, neither do I, is can we go a lot farther down until then? And that's really the risk, you got to be willing to take if you're going to get into Matterport. The fact that the short term, we can definitely fall down. We can definitely break that year-end low that we saw here at the end of 2022. But, regardless, if you have high conviction in something like this, you already know what to do. Now, I did want to go over a couple articles real quick. We do have this article that came out on February 8th, just going over how 360 virtual tours by Matterport is a real paradigm shift in the real estate market. And one of the last times I talked about Matterport, quite a long time ago, I actually did a little virtual tour going through a house, and there's all kinds of things you can click on. It's actually quite interesting. You can virtually walk around a house. Maybe it's a prospective house that you want to buy. Maybe it's just a business, and we're going to get into that in a second, a deal regarding John Deere. But just in terms of real estate, or even in terms of just looking for products, seeing how they look in your house, stuff like that. I was walking around this 3D image. You can literally click on the drapes on the windows and see where they come from. It'll link you to where to buy them. You can click on the chairs that you like. You can click on like water faucets, all kinds of stuff like that. And it basically tells you every product that's in that house. And I think that's a very interesting, innovative design here by Matterport. They are the leader here in this digital twin imaging. And as it says even right here, I'll leave the link down below for you. I'm just going to briefly go over a couple things here on it. But one of the key benefits of the 360 virtual tours from Matterport is that it improves the overall experience for property buyers and sellers. The tour allows buyers to view the property from the comfort of their own home, reducing the need for physical visits and saving time. Maybe you're looking at a potential property, out of state or even out of the country. Well, while you should definitely visit the neighborhood, see what it's actually like, it does give you a vision into what the inside of the house is like. It definitely kind of lets you put pieces together in your head a little better when you're planning on purchasing a potential house. But as I said, I will leave this article down below for you. Let's look at the next one. And this is regarding this deal with John Deere and Matterport. And basically, John Deere is planning on using Matterport's digital twin imaging platform to streamline facilities and operations management to boost responsivity and productivity. So, it can potentially tighten their margins, cause them to be more efficient. They're not buying products that they don't need. They're, getting an inventory on the shelves without actually having to physically go in there, have an employee do an inventory check, cutting down on prices, and, tightening the business up in terms of productivity. Now, this came out at the end of January, but regardless, I do think this is some fantastic news. Another use case for Matterport. This is a multi-billion-dollar company here, John Deere. And for them to see something in Matterport and see a huge use case for them that actually can help them out financially, I think that's definitely, something to consider here when you're looking at Matterport. Is there's more and more companies down the road that can take this product on, and they genuinely do see a lot of use in Matterport's product. Now, utilizing Matterport's Pro 2 and Pro 3 cameras, John Deere will capture spatially accurate 4K resolution digital twins to optimize facility operations. With Matterport's digital twin platform, John Deere employees can remotely access any facility's digital twin to track assets and materials, monitor vehicles, and integrate real-time Internet of Things data streams. Collaboration takes place in real time with the digital twin to improve productivity while reducing the need for costly site visits. And as said by Jay Remley, Matterport's Chief Revenue Officer, we're proud to support John Deere on their journey to reinvent manufacturing operations for global businesses with facilities spread across several regions. Oh God, I just went back on my mouse. For global businesses with facilities spread across several regions and time zones, the ability to remotely optimize each space based on its own unique parameters is a critical unlock for operations management. Our digital twin platform enables companies to reap real productivity gains and cost savings by digitizing their operations for more efficient maintenance, remote monitoring, and improved decision making. But let me know how you guys feel about this below. While Matterport is definitely a speculative investment, they do have a lot of potential here in the future, as everything goes digital, as companies look for ways to improve margins and, improve their costs, things like that, Matterport can definitely shine. Now, something to also look out for here is John Deere is reporting next week. And the main thing I wanted to bring up is, listen to their earnings call. We might have some news here about Matterport. We might just have some comments regarding Matterport. The fact that maybe they're boosting their margins up, the fact that maybe they're tightening up their expenses, things of that nature. So this could be a little hidden bit of information you might find in John Deere's earnings call. They might not mention Matterport, but it's possible they do. So look out for that as well. And I did want to mention that right now, John Deere is a $123 billion company. And funny enough, my cousin's a believer in this one. He was talking about it. Oh God, when was he talking? He was talking about it somewhere around here. And I didn't get in it. I'm definitely more of a speculative investor kind of guy. While I do have some relatively safe stocks, my main focus here on this channel especially is, risky small caps. But it just goes to show you, you don't have to dig through all these crazy speculative companies sometimes. you can just simply find a safe stock like John Deere, and depending on the market environment, you know, you can make some huge gains on something like this. But I do think as we, you know, approach a point in the market where we get more risk on stocks like John Deere, there will be money flowing out of them. I personally think it's just a matter of time. But one thing's for certain for me is as we get into the next risk on rally, I won't be scared to take some profits and move them into some of these potential John Deeres as these come down drastically in price, as we get a shift from Dow stocks to riskier NASDAQ stocks, to riskier small caps, things of that nature, which I do expect at some point this year. And we've actually honestly been seeing it since the beginning of this year. If you look at John Deere, from the end of last year till now, it's down about 7%. Meanwhile, a lot of the more risky stocks are actually up from the beginning of the year. So that is one thing to be aware of. You know, it does seem like there's a bit of a shift in the market. And as people exit these safe stocks, you know, that money can definitely flow into smaller caps, into, you know, even just growth companies, things of that nature. But at some point, I will be doing a shift more into some safer stocks, as they aren't the focus. Right now, these safer stocks throughout all of 2022, you know, they were the ones running up. They're the ones now in my eyes that are extremely overvalued. And while you have a company like John Deere in the 17s for PE ratio, you also have a lot of larger caps that have a lot more growth potential in my eyes that are at around the same or just a slightly higher PE. Now, as the market gets more speculative and prices in more growth in the future, these large caps, small caps, more risky stocks will likely see a pump in my eyes. But let me know how you feel about that thought process down below. What do you think this year's main focus is going to be? Is Wall Street going to realize how undervalued some of these more risky stocks are and exit some of these higher valued compared to traditional metrics, compared to where they are traditionally, you know, these higher valued safe stocks? I can definitely see a shift there. It really wouldn't surprise me. You know, the market's always looking for where the best deal is. It's also looking for the uptrend. And one thing we've seen with a lot of these small caps is since the beginning of this year, we have been seeing an uptrend. Hopefully that continues. But thanks as always, guys. Leave your thoughts down below. What do you think about Matterport? And what's your strategy? You know, is it a long-term buy and hold for you? Are you just going to swing trade it? Are you not going to touch it? Let me know down below. Thanks as always, guys. Have a good day.